Welcome back to Chapter 7. In this video, we'll be talking about sectioning and outlining resources. First off, you have advanced sectioning. Now, we won't go into this in deep detail, but if you are to go into different ways of sectioning code and learning more about the construct of this, especially with HTML5, you can look up advanced topics including sectioning roots, such as I have the screenshot on the right. This has over 408,000 results, and that's just of 2008 or 2018. You may get a few mixed in results, such as that video on the far right. Don't know why that's in there, but I guess if you're searching for sectioning roots, that's something you can cover. You can also look up the topic HTML4 versus HTML5 document outlining. That should give you roughly the same idea. But this is something we're not going to cover in this class. We're just giving you a brief introduction of how to section the content based on the tags that you know now. You should only use these sectioning items as needed. Chances are you won't use all of the sectioning elements on a single page or even on a single website. It does depend on the content and the organization structure of the content being provided. Lastly, don't force it. If you don't need an element, don't insert it. Otherwise, it's just extra fluff that's going to make it harder for web browsers to load, bandwidth to use, web servers to load, and overall just a bad idea. The less you use, the better and faster things can load. Lastly, let's take a look at some code formatting. If you have some single line elements, such as the item on the left, then it should be fairly straightforward that things that start and end on the same line can be on the same line. But if you have a multi-line element, such as the item on the right, where in this case we have an h1 tag inside of a header tag, you should have the header on its own lines, starting and ending, and then the single line element between that. That way it's easier to identify where things start, where things end, and you're not worrying about extra wasted space. However, if you have an item that has line breaks in it, you can start it with the opening tag, have the content inside tabbed over or spaced over, have the line breaks, and then close the tag itself. Perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable, and easier to read. However, take a look at these two examples. Based on what I just stated, which one do you think is the correct listing for a single line element and a multi-line aspects? I'll give you a quick second. Ready? Technically, the first one is correct, only because the image tags are treated as text. If you were to use the second example, it is perfectly fine and accepted, but it may also provide an extra space around or beside the image. This way, with the first example, by wrapping the single line image inside of a single line anchor tag, you prevent the browser from creating any extra space even with forced new lines. So this way, you make sure that the image is wrapped inside of an anchor tag and you don't have to worry about the extra space. Again, another fairly short video. If you have any questions about this or anything previously discussed, please hit me an email or hit me up on Twitter, and I'll get back to you the best way I know how.